Alright, so a new trailer has dropped. It's an extended version of the last one and it contains a lot of stuff. So buckle up, this is going to be a long one. Along with the new trailer, the box art of Kingdom Hearts 3 was released. The art is made by Nomura himself and is probably the best box art I've ever seen. I thought I'd quickly analyze the box art as well before moving to the trailer. The first thing we see is that the most important good guys are gathered at the top of the building. We have 4 groups: the Destiny Islands trio, the Wayfinder trio, the Sunset trio, and Donald and Goofy. Furthermore, we have Mickey and Naminé by themselves. Adding the total number of people, we of course get 13. What did you expect? Looking to the left, we see a clock tower, but not a real clock tower, more like a freaky clock tower. You see, there aren't 12 Roman numerals on the clock face, but rather 13. Again, what did you expect? The numbers are all scrambled and it's hard to find a coherent pattern, but I have given it a try. You have to go clockwise 5 numbers to get to the next number. Except when you cross from 13 to 1, then you have to go 6 instead. Starting at 1 we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're at 2. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then we're at 3. The next time we have to count 6 because we cross from 13 to 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we're at 4. Why this pattern works and what it means, I have no idea. Above the 13 Roman numerals we have 7 blue lights that I can't quite make out what are. Now turn your attention to the sky and notice how it's a fusion of all the skies from 1.5, 2.5 and 2.8 cover arts. We zoom right over to the rooftop again. Mickey can be seen holding the Keyblade we have seen in a couple of trailers now. Last time we saw it, Aqua had it picked up from the ground after defeating Mickey and Riku in the Realm of Darkness. Going down a bit to Mickey's BFF, we can see that he has the spiky hair rather than the long hair we saw in the last trailer. Maybe Riku's haircut changes at some point in the game. I mean, no matter how hopeless the fate of the world looks, you always gotta have time for a new haircut, right? The artwork pretty much confirms that Shion and Naminé are going to be in the game in some shape or form. On the edge of the rooftop we can see what appears to be a Darkling Heartless. If you're unfamiliar with Darkling Heartless, they're pureblood Heartless originating from Unchained Key. A Darkling Heartless is created when a Keyblade wielder succumbs to darkness. I have nothing to base this on, but maybe this is Strelitzia. I know she didn't succumb to darkness, but so far she hasn't played a role at all, so this could be it. Looking at what the Darkling holds, it seems to be a star. This star could represent Lux. It would certainly fit in nicely given that Lux also originated from Unchained Key. Overall, this box art is incredible and it really harkens back to the box art of Kingdom Hearts 1. Enough about the box art, let's have a look at the trailer. It starts differently than we're used to. No blue text with a cryptic message. We see the same chessboard as last time with Sora surrounded by the Seekers of Darkness. Let's go through which Seekers of Darkness the chess pieces represent. We have Master Xehanort, Xemnas, Ansem, Young Xehanort, Luxord, Syx, Vanitas, Marluxia and Larxene. There's another gold chess piece in the upper left corner, but it doesn't seem to be part of what's happening. Xehanort moves a piece we haven't seen and declares a checkmate. In chess, checkmate is where a player's king is in a position where there is no way to avoid getting killed. If a player has been put in checkmate, the game is over and the player has lost. There are no more turns, the player can't move one last time, it's over. So seeing Sora and the light side checkmated is not boding particularly well. The perspective changes and we get to see the chess piece Xehanort just moved. It has a weird symbol on it. The symbol closely resembles the keychain of Terra's Ends of the Earth Keyblade, that is an upgraded version of his default Earthshaker Keyblade. Because of this, the chess piece is probably representing Terranort. If we stop right here, we have a nice view of young Eraqus' face. Comparing this to the E3 2015 trailer, we can see some huge improvements. In the next frame we have Eraqus opposite of Xehanort. Again, comparing to the E3 2015 trailer, we can see some changes. Most notably the skin color of Xehanort, that has become significantly darker. Continuing the trailer, we see Eraqus grabbing his last chess piece, saying that it's his turn, and in the process revealing how little he knows of chess rules. I know, the chessboard isn't even real, with some black and white spots not always alternating, so there's no reason to think that they play by our chess rules. And there it is, the blue text we've come to expect. After the text we see a big Heartless falling. Stopping right when it hits the ground gives us a nice look of Sora's headset/goggles thing that he presumably gets from Hero. A couple of frames later the Heartless is clearly visible, and as I said in the previous analysis, it reminds me a whole lot of an enemy from Thebes. Because of the similarities, I'm gonna say that it's just a normal or rare Heartless. A voice coming from behind Sora is heard, and when he turns around he realizes that the Big Hero 6 team has come to help. The team has some internal dialogue that isn't too important, and then Sora goes into his usual battle stance proclaiming that the Keyblade Hero 3 is ready to fight. Hero chimes in saying Big Hero 6 is ready as well. The camera zooms out and we get a nice shot of the entire team. The Keyblade of the world can be seen and it looks amazing. In the last video I mentioned that it would be great to be able to dive off from roofs. Given that Sora is running up a building, we can definitely dive off from roofs. In the bottom left we can see the command menu of the world, and bottom right we can see the usual HUD. Baymax appears to be the only party member we have in this world, and Sora's image has changed to incorporate the headset. The MP bar is gigantic, suggesting that this is a late game world. When running up the building, notice how Sora can turn to either side. This wasn't the case with the demo where he could only do those jerky sharp turns. It's great to see that Square Enix is listening to the feedback players have been giving. A bit higher on the building, Sora attacks the turrets just like he attacked the Heartless in the Pirates of the Caribbean world. It looks a bit funky, but hopefully it works smoothly. The trailer cuts and we see Sora in the back of Baymax, just like Hero normally is. They attack together, and from the command menu we can see this type of attack is called Intercept Jet. It looks to be kind of the same as the Rocket Rockets from Toy Box. We're back in the alley we saw from last trailer. Sora is running when some weird HUD appears. It's probably something that comes from his headset. What it does, I have no clue, except it appears to be some kind of targeting system. Maybe some kind of way to control who Baymax should attack. The next scene shows Sora using Thunder from his shortcut menu, and then attacking a new shadow. He goes directly from the ground into an air combo, which seems odd. But maybe it's just an ability that does that when attacking from a distance. After a cut, we can get a close look at this world's Keyblade when transformed into the Nano Arms form. The detail on the Keyblade is astonishing. If you don't remember, Nano Arms is the form of this Keyblade, and from what I could tell, it's an amalgamation of other Keyblade transformations, in the sense it borrows attacks from other forms. We also have a close-up look of the new Heartless introduced in the last trailer. Sora creates a portal that he jumps into. The portal turns into a sphere of portals that shoot out nanobots. This is likely a finisher to the Nano Arms form. Notice here the big Heartless we saw from the start of the Big Hero 6 segment. Seeing the Heartless here gives a bit more credibility to the theory that it's simply a normal or rare Heartless. Here we can see the Intercept Jet is used to fly around the city and shoot. Notice what they are chasing. The Dark Baymax from Nomura's artwork of the world. So this is probably footage from the middle of a boss battle. In this scene we're on the top of a rooftop where the blue boss from last time is creating a dome. In the middle of the screen are red glowing bots forming a fist. Sora blocks the attack. If you didn't notice from the last trailer, you can definitely see it here. The bots have the exact same pattern as the bug blocks from Coded. Sora is running on top of a roof going through rings. Look at his HUD. I believe this is the first time we see it when he isn't in battle. Donald and Goofy are missing. At the top left we see a score counter that reads data. And the top right we have time. This looks to be some sort of minigame where you have to traverse the city as fast as possible while you go through the rings to rake up some points. We see Sora diving and gliding, using all the athletic flow tools he has at his disposal. It could be a pretty cool minigame. Now the first gameplay part of the trailer is over and we move on to a story segment. To start off with, Baymax, Go-Go, Hero and Sora are chilling on the San Francisco copy-paste Golden Gate Bridge. Hero talks about how his brother Tadashi lives on in all of them, and then Sora talks about how Roxas helps him when he isn't strong enough. We then see it from Roxas's perspective, where he imagines him and the Twilight Gang hanging out just like he used to do in Data Twilight Town. Sora is surprised by his vision of Roxas and his friends. It's interesting to notice that Sora and his friends are eating brown ice cream, where Roxas eats light blue ice cream. the sea salt ice cream. Brown is exactly the inverted color of light blue, showing how Roxas and Sora complement each other. If this is a late game world, then Roxas is released very late in the game. We cut to Riku and Mickey talking. They don't really say anything important, and we saw this clip last time. The only thing noteworthy is Riku's new haircut, but we saw that last time as well. In the next scene, Sora excitedly answers his phone, thinking it's Riku calling him. He's bummed out when he found out it's only Enzo calling. How come Sora's phone doesn't show the caller? I hadn't thought about this before, but it seems like phones are pretty normal to have now in the Kingdom Hearts universe. I'm looking forward to seeing how this will affect the plot. As soon as something bad happens, like Mickey and Riku finding a knotted Aqua, they can just call Sora and tell him. A nice little detail in this cutscene that is easy to miss is this little guy. That's right, Jiminy Cricket is back. A cut and then we're in Kingdom of Corona. Rapunzel touches a fluff ball and out pops Heartless. This could be the first time in the world that they say Heartless, given how careless they are. Hey, we finally get to see Davy Jones, the man, the myth, the legend. Generally, he looks really good, maybe with the exception of his tentacles that kinda seems to flail wildly in the air. But fear not, they still have plenty of time to polish these small details. He asks Captain Jack Sparrow, if he's lost for some reason. His reaction to the question is simply to run. My guess is that he involuntarily found himself at Davy Jones' ship. Yet another cut and we're in Arendelle. Wow, we're really getting around this time. In this world, Sora is talking to Anna about how she needs to bring Elsa home. This is probably shortly after Elsa ran away from her castle. At the Destiny Islands, Sora finds Master's Defender and ponders what it's doing there. As I talked about in the last video, this clip confirms that the original E3 2013 clip is actually canon, contrary to what many thought. Nothing more really happens, but then we're back at the Caribbean, where Luxord is talking about a chest like he did in the Pirates of the Caribbean trailer. The chest is probably the Master of Masters chest, and that chest might also be the same as the Dead Man's chest that Davy Jones is after. In Arendelle, Sora is chatting up another organization 13 member. This time it's Laxine. Much to Sora's surprise, she claims that they have already collected the darknesses they need. This next clip is really interesting. We see the pictures from the last trailer and hear Hyena saying that they want to help find Roxas. Then we see the Twilight Town gang and Sora standing before the manor saying, "Another Twilight Town awaits." So Sora have probably told them about the tragic story of Roxas and how he was their friend in the Data Twilight Town. The manor looks really cool with all the plants and cobwebs. Once again we find ourselves at the sea, but this time on a ship. Just as we saw in the Pirates of the Caribbean trailer, Sora is able to control a ship and attack with it. From the looks of it, we are smack dab in the middle of a boss fight against the Kraken. My guess is that the fight is going to end with Sora, Donald, Goofy and Jack fighting the Kraken on a ship and then getting eaten, just like Jack did at the end of Deadman's chest. This could lead us into the part of the Pirates trailer where Sora, Donald, Goofy and Jack are sailing in Davy Jones' locker. That's just a guess though. We see a new move with the ship where it is launched into the air and then comes crashing down towards an enemy. A little later Sora is fighting in a river near a bridge. Jack is our only party member as we might have guessed and actually saw in the Pirates trailer. A new freaking cool type of Heartless can be seen, and also the Gambler Nobody that Luxord controls. In combat, we see Sora using the Stormflag finisher. Stormflag is the second Keyblade transformation of this world's Keyblade, with the first being High Wind. After a cut we're in Thebes, where Sora, Donald and Goofy are riding a shield. This proves that this type of minigame is not only limited to Arendelle, where we first saw it. It's probably because it's a Japanese version we're watching, but the minigame is called Trinity Sled here, while it was called Goofy Curling in the Frozen trailer. It really amazes me that we still can see places in the Olympus world that we haven't seen before. These worlds must be huge. The Heartless might be a special kind of non-threatening Heartless, just like the white mushrooms from Kingdom Hearts 1. In the next clip we see Sora taking a selfie with a non-threatening Heartless. I think this is a minigame because we can see a score in the left hand corner and it says excellent in the bottom. One thing that might argue against it being a minigame is the amount of pictures you can take. 100 pictures, that seems a little excessive for a small picture minigame. To the right of the screen we can also see an icon that indicates we can flip the camera to take normal photos. I think this is going to be a form of collectibles, taking pictures of various enemies. Nomura did mention that hidden Mickeys could be found throughout the worlds, so we might have to take pictures of them. Just because we can take pictures right here doesn't mean a photo mode has been confirmed for the game, just keep that in mind. Here Sora is in Arendelle, fighting a being that seems to be a construct of darkness and ice. Marshmallow is the only party member, like Baymax and Jack. An attack called Avalanche Breath is used and Sora rides Marshmallow, just like Baymax. I think this is the finisher of Avalanche Breath, but we don't have a HUD here, so it might not be though. A Kingdom Hearts 3 trailer wouldn't be complete without Ansem talking, so here he is. He's talking to Sigma about destroying someone if he deviates from a path they've laid out. My immediate reaction was that they're talking about Roxas, but I guess it could be someone else as well. The cut to Sora is just very suggestive. There's a slight problem with that theory though. When Sora was talking to Laxine in Arendelle, she said they had all the darknesses they need. But in the Big Hero 6 world, which we guessed to be late game, Roxas still isn't free. So maybe it isn't him. The trailer cuts and we see a nodded Vexen talking to Demyx or his somebody. They talk about a plan and that it was someone's idea. I don't know where they're talking, but from the background and lighting, I'd say maybe Kingdom of Corona? In the last trailer I guess this could be Xian, but a couple of days later someone found a 0.2 model of Riku that matched without a doubt, down to every single hair strand. Now we know it's true. There are 3 possibilities for which Riku it could be. It could be Ansem Riku from the first game, Riku replica from Chain of Memories, or Data Riku from Coded. I think the last 2 are the most probable. Let's go through why it could be those 2, starting with Riku replica. In the clip, Riku is saying that they've always tried to one-up each other. Replica is made from Riku's data, so he could have some of the memories of Sora and Riku's rivalry, and the events of Castle Oblivion could also fit. Furthermore, we've just seen Vexen, and he was the creator of Replica. That's my case for Riku replica. Now let's look at Data Riku. He's kind of the personification of Jiminy's journal, and in Coded, Jiminy's journal got infected by the bug blocks. In the Big Hero 6 world, the bug blocks have made their return, and Sora is wearing the headset while talking to Riku. Also in the Athletic Flow minigame, the score is called Data, suggesting that it's Data Riku. That's my 2 cases, now you can decide for yourself. In the next scene we see Ventus sitting in the chair he was left in the Land of Departure. The camera moves to reveal Vanitas sitting atop the chair. He says, "What am I going to do with you, brother?" Probably wondering how to make him wake up. Here a knotted Aqua can be seen for the umpteenth time. We have already seen this, so let's just continue. Now Sora, Donald and Mickey is someplace that looks like the Badlands. We also saw this scene in the last trailer. It appears I was right with regards to it being Master Xehanort. Finally, the old goat reveals himself. Over the next couple of clips he says the following. "Today we join the other Keyblade wielders and leave our mark on fate. I have waited patiently, but together we shall unlock the Keyblade War's secrets." I gotta admit, I fully support Xehanort. We must know what happens with the second Keyblade War. From here on the trailer rapid fires small clips, so let's try to go through them. The first clip is a yet unknotted Aqua that tries to take on Ansem and his guardian without her Keyblade. She left Master's Defender behind at the end of 0.2. It doesn't quite go as planned and Aqua is grabbed and flung, all while maintaining the best poker face I've ever seen. This is probably shortly before she is knotted. Cut, and we see Carrie and Lee chilling together. It looks like Carrie is doing the "got it memorized" gesture. The next clip shows Demyx carrying a blue blanket that is probably swept around a person. This blanket reminds me a lot of what Ventus was swept in when he was going to be abandoned by Xehanort. If we zoom in on Demyx's eyes, it's clear that they are yellow. They sure as hell aren't the weird green color they used to be. Ansem the Wise is back and he seems to comfort Ienzo. Those two had a pretty close relationship as can be seen in Birth by Sleep, so Ienzo is probably feeling guilty that he helped betray Ansem. Axel is sitting all by himself at the Twilight Town clock tower when his previous BFF comes strolling towards him. He looks pretty shocked. The trailer cuts and we finally get to see Terranort, but not doing anything interesting, just holding his head, as usual. In the next scene, Vanitas is standing above an unknotted Aqua, ready to kill her. My theory is that this scene is right after the other Vanitas scene, where he thought about how to wake Ventus up. It could be that Ventus's heart had been restored to him at that point, but he still hadn't woken up. Vanitas then does what worked for him last time. This scene is from the 0.2 opening cinematic, and it represents Sora saving Aqua from something. Maybe the Realm of Darkness, or maybe from Xehanort's grasp. Here we see Sora in a dive to the heart, more specifically Ventus's dive to the heart. This dive has been seen in Birth by Sleep before. Sora is likely in the process of waking up Ventus here, or just returning his heart. This next clip is potentially very heartbreaking. It's Sora and Kairi on Destiny Islands, sitting on the usual tree, but without Riku. Hopefully this doesn't mean that Riku bites the dust. A cut later we see some manly tears from Axel. What he's crying about is anyone's guess. It could be tears of happiness, but more likely is that it's tears of sadness. For the final scene we see Roxas dual wielding the Oblivion and Oathkeeper Keyblades. The Oathkeeper Keyblade can be spotted before he pulls back the hood. Whether Roxas returns as a good guy or bad guy is yet to be seen, but I fear he might be Norded as well. That's almost it for the video, but before I end off I want to draw your attention to something interesting. Assuming that all people that are Norded stay Norded throughout the game, Xehanort actually has more than 13 darknesses. He has the following darknesses: Xehanort, Young Xehanort, Ansem, Xemnas, Terranort, Vanitas, Aqua, Riku, Sigba, Sayax, Laxine, Marluxia, Luxord, Vexen, Demyx, and maybe Roxas. That's 16. Maybe his plan is to make more than he needs in case some are defeated or unknotted. That would be a very Xehanort thing to do, especially when keeping this clip from Blank Point in mind.
We can take as much time as we need to settle this little property dispute. However, know this. You are just one of many roads that I might choose to take. Trust me, I made certain of that.
Anyway, that's all I have for today. I hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.